Coming up, the latest on Ipswich City Council's Transparency and Integrity Hub. Covid-19 fees and charges relief extended, and Council's local disaster management policy under review following recent severe weather. It's Friday, November 20, 2020, and I'm Alan Roebuck. Welcome to Ipswich Today, which acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land on which it is produced and pays respects to elders past, present and emerging. This podcast is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. Council's local disaster management response to recent severe storms continued to have the full attention of councillors at November's Environment and Sustainability Committee meeting. Committee Chairperson, Councillor Russell Milligan.
The two most recent storm events, first which happened on Sunday 25th of October, where damage was sustained in the suburbs of Carrollee, Muirley, Pine Mountain, Tuar, North Ipswich, Brassel, Tivoli and North Tivoli, where a large amount of green waste was created due to severe winds, and it's estimated that hundreds of tonnes of debris has been picked up and processed by council employees. And the other event that occurred on Saturday the 31st of October, which affected the suburbs of Rosewood, Willowbank, Thagoona, Springfield and Springfield Lakes. That's where I have considered what has transpired from those two events. In addressing this, I do of course want to acknowledge the fine work and offer council's thanks to the community for their resilience and support of each other. But organisations, including officers and managers and staff of Ipswich City Council, but also the YMCA and their volunteers through the Community Centre at Springfield, the Rosewood Community Centre and their volunteers, Department of Communities, Disability Services and Seniors, Springfield Lake State School, Queensland Ambulance Service, Queensland Police Service, State Emergency Service from all over Queensland and interstate, GIVIT, Western Moreton Health, Rural Fire Service and other elements of QFES, Uniting Care Financial Counselling, Lifeline, Department of Housing and Public Works, Energex, Queensland Statewide Tenant Advice and Referral Service, Moreton Bay Regional Council and Gold Coast City Council for their support, Insurance Council of Australia, Orange Sky Laundry Services, various local businesses and individuals and suppliers that have provided donations, Salvation Army Catering, local neighbourhood watch groups, and of course our local disaster management group.
Councillor Milligan then went on to detail his notice of motion to review the current disaster management policy.
The motion is in three parts. A, that Council review its disaster management policy to confirm that appropriate measures are in place to cater for future weather events. B, that the disaster management policy be amended to change the review term from 2 years to every year immediately following the traditional severe weather season. And C, that a report be provided to a future council meeting outlining the various weather events and thresholds in place to determine our response and that of other agencies, and what this means to the community by way of support and assistance available.
Mayor Teresa Harding added that Council needed better communication support between councillors and between Council and the community as a disaster unfolds and in the immediate period after.
I'd like for the review to include consultation with the elected representatives as well, or whether it comes to us for a workshop once it's in a certain position. Certainly for Councillor Kunzman as the Chair and the Deputy Chair of the Local Disaster Management Group, it would be good to, put in better provisions when it comes to debriefing and also what's come up from that storm on the 28th or the 25th of October as well as the Halloween is, the communication support to the elected representatives so we can communicate better with the community as well. It'd be good to have a process better defined, and that would be good to see.
The Mayor also highlighted the cost of cleanups.
the storm that happened the weekend before Halloween up at Chuwa and Carolee and up there. Obviously, council have removed all the trees and the debris from the roads, but when trees and so on fall in from their own property, on their own property, is a homeowner's obligation, and we are finding, I guess, fewer people have chainsaws and utes to take. We did the free green waste for people, and obviously worked with people as well. And I just note that when in discussions we had with council officers, there was anecdotally some stories saying that when we had that big storm in Raceview back in 2016, where there was the trampoline famously up in the electrical wires, that clean-up the council did cost $1.2 million. So, as the people that control the purse strings of the council, we need to be, I think, fiscally responsible and know what council does, but also homeowners also have an obligation when looking after their homes as well. But obviously council has a big role in making sure that the various state agencies do the role that they're supposed to do as well in these areas.
The last review of Council's disaster management policy was only undertaken in June this year. Surprisingly, the whole issue of communicating with residents is not apparent in this policy. Or perhaps it is buried in other council policies or procedures. Lessons of 2 significant flood disasters in the past decade seem to have been forgotten, overlooked or ignored. You'll find a link to Ipswich City Council's current disaster management policy in the podcast show notes. In other news from committees, it appears at least one current councillor is still holding out on providing consent for council to publish their own councillor-related expenses on the Transparency and Integrity Hub. Meanwhile, Ipswich City Council's application to the Information Commissioner for a waiver is still being considered after a request was formally submitted in July this year. Council has also been consulting with current and previous councillors and directors of former council-controlled companies to publish historical expenses and data. Council officers find themselves in a position of balancing the aims and intent of the Transparency and Integrity Hub with a minefield of legislation, including the Information Privacy Act. Between the 1st of March and the 30th of September this year, Council provided a range of discounts and waivers on selected fees and charges for sectors of the economy most impacted by Covid-19 closures and social restrictions. It's been recommended that the selected discounts and fee waivers continue until the 30th of June 2021. To review a full replay of all Council committee meetings, just jump on Council's YouTube channel. Minutes and officers' reports are also available on Council's website to make it easier to follow the meetings. The next ordinary meeting of Council will be held Thursday, November 26 from 9 a.m. Ipswich Today is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. This podcast is also listener-supported. Please make a once-only gift or regular donation to help keep it online. Just go to ipswichtoday.com.au and click the donate button at the bottom of the page. You can subscribe for free and share this podcast from your favourite app, including iHeartRadio, or play Ipswich Today from your smart speaker. Music is supplied by Purple Planet Music. This is Alan Roebuck. Thanks for listening.